All right, so we're gonna go ahead and start. How many of you guys have had a dream where you're falling and you can't catch yourself and it's terrifying, or you've been afraid of heights your whole life and you've never gotten over that fear? You guys can just raise your hands. Oh wow, okay, so everyone has an experience with heights. So in climbing, a lot of climbers are actually afraid of heights, and so one of the ways that we kind of get over that fear is a knowledge of how to tie a knot into a rope, which we know will be able to catch us. And so we have a confidence in the equipment we're using that we rely on when we get scared. So today we're going to be teaching about the figure 8 knot. My name's Noah. I'm Vince.
Cameron.
Yeah, so we'll begin by just instructing you on how to tie the knot, and we'll go ahead and demonstrate. Vince and Cam, you guys can face one of the two sides over here, and I'll face the front. That way we can all get a good look at it. So, with the rope you have, you don't follow along quite yet. Go ahead and just watch for now. But we'll take your dominant hand, whether that's right or left. You'll take one end of the rope and put it onto the end of, into your dominant hand, kind of like a detonator kind of looking thing. Usually I teach kids at the rock gym, so this is kind of how it's going to look. So you take that in your dominant hand, you're going to take your non-dominant hand, point it away from you, and then put it underneath the rope to the right, or to the left, depending on your dominant hand. You're going to take about almost arm's length worth of rope and to create a bite. That's done by pinching the two ends of the rope together and creating kind of this little loop over the top. So that's called a bite. Your finger will stay in the loop and you'll be pointing away from yourself. So then with the detonator, or just with the end of the rope, you're going to bring it to your chest, wrap it around that little loop there, we call it the alien's head, and then bring it back to your chest. From there, you're going to poke the alien in the back of the head and pull through. So that'll give you the first part of the figure 8 retrace knot, and that's what we should have by the end of it. And let's see what these guys have over here. So Vince has it correctly, and let's see what Cam has over here.
Oh no, I messed it up.
Oh crap.
No, what'd I do?
Alright, so if you end up with just a simple overhand knot, there's only one possible reason for that, and that's because you pointed at yourself. So if I do this action again, detonator, arm's length of rope, making the bite to the chest, and then wrapping around. So as Cam wrapped around, he pointed at himself. He stopped pointing away from himself, he pointed at himself and put it through the front of the alien's head instead of the back. So when you do that, you get the overhand knot. So that's one of the things we'll try to avoid. So that's the first part of the knot. The second part of the knot is going to be retracing, and Vince will go ahead and go through the retracing method. Go for it.
Yes. So retracing, if you have your figure 8, you either put on a loop right now, or you put on a water bottle that has a loop on it. Usually you want to put on the hard points in a harness. Usually you use this when you're going to call sport climbing, when you actually use a rope, either top roping or you're leading with it. So you're going to have a loop like this, okay? And what you're going to do, so basically the loop should follow, and if you're right-handed, this line should be on the right-hand side. If you're left-handed, it should be on this side. What you're going to do, as you see in your diagram, you're going to take it, you're going to push this to the side a little bit, and you're going to retrace the figure 8. That's why it's called figure 8 retrace. You can see, you're going to go up, like that. You can go around, back down here. My thing's a little too short. I do apologize. I did it too much. So make sure you guys do it. I messed up right there, so a good lesson for that. So we're going to help you at the end. is make sure you have enough rope to retrace it. That's one of the problems that a lot of us do when we do climb. You don't have enough. Boom. Boom. Like I said, push it to the side. Come to here. Trace it back around. Should follow through like that. And to tell, you should have about 5 lines, 5 pairs of lines, so you can count 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And that's how we know when it's secure. You just push it through like that, that's how it should look. Okay?
Yeah, so the end of your knot should look like 2 8s mapped over each other. So you have those 5 parallel lines, like Vince was talking about, along with the slack coming out away from you. So we're gonna go ahead and try that. This side will be with Cam, you guys will be with me, and then this side will be with Vince, and we'll let you go through it and just observe as you do it.
Yeah. Also,
So
if you
try-
don't ask this question, you have a little reference sheet. Okay?
Over.
And just a clarification, this is your individual practice time, so different from the command style, we're not gonna lead you through each individual step. If you guys have questions, this is your responsibility to ask us and we gladly help you. But you guys are on your own until you want us.
Or you can use your chair. Yeah, okay, for sure. Nice, Yaza. Crush it.
This? Did I get it?
No, you can't ask
This is
questions,
right.
you just have to investigate it.
See what you end up with. Just go for it if that looks good to you. I'll keep my not over here.
Oh, that's great. I didn't understand.
Perfect. You can take your hand out. Awesome.
You can just let it, so I think this is the only piece that's gonna matter.
Yeah, we'll be able to get
Maybe take the last step more this way, so you have, this next part is gonna be one or So, what are the directions set? Finally put the, okay.
Read this. Little diagram.
This is.
So you're just doing this figure eight before you can start and show off.
Alright, so push this aside.
No, I just don't know how to do the double figure. So just retrace, okay, retrace.
Yeah, to your chest.
Which side, which one side?
Well, this is the part you want, essentially we have.
Yeah, so take the longer end, whichever is the longer end.
And then.
Face this,
Tighten
it's
it up.
easier.
Alright, so now you're
So,
going to,
since you want to start
Ends of the rope
retracing
in there,
on this
just have to
side,
trace back.
you have all that stuff on this side.
Either end, whatever you like. So let's say this is where the rest of the rope is.
So go in towards the one that. Yeah.
Yes!
Oh, okay.
Oh, did you get it?
Yeah, so you'll move this one over.
I did it.
So then you just go around.
mine just doesn't come out.
One little step. Where's the
Because I am
Start over. And then.
Not quite. Go down and around. Follow the strand.
Down around this way.
So you can follow the strand like that. Yeah. See how the strand. So you want everything to mirror.
Doing this for climbing.
Yep, I'm really going to know it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna fall.
Nice.
And then,
Yeah, I mean, you can make it look, I say it was prettier by chopping it like that and tightening up opposite ends. And then it's a perfect figure. Nice. Yeah.
Yeah, Brett.
Alright, so we'll go around and like just check individually, see if you guys have gotten it. If you are having trouble with any parts of the knot, we'll just help you do that. And if any of your classmates have it down, you can ask them as well. So. Oh.
Did you get the retrace part down and then just untie it again?
Almost. So the problem is there should be a loop here that oh, that's there. There we go. Okay, yeah, perfect. That's a figure eight. Yeah, do it again. Maybe you can tie triangle left-handed one.
How's he saying you read it?
You did a left-handed. Wait, you're not left-handed.
One side.
So I got this.
What is that?
Just like
How?
This is no, I just this is like where the rest of it is just like going up. So what's the first thing you guys are going to go down? Where's the stroke going? Is it going over or is it going under this part? A good way to do that. Yeah. Figure eight. Equal structure, so you know what you're following. So,
This is the loop that you would tie around your belt buckle, that same stuff as that. And you follow it around the top. And you follow it under, and you follow it right there. Just behind this loop, and then back down to the top.
If we're tracing this
it's that last one. So I need to follow this one. So I
go around, right?
down,
This
around,
way, right?
then up through.
perfect. And then this is the
I think one of these
hop in the top of this, hop in the collar, and then in front of it. Yeah, with tight bend, boom, together. Yeah, you want that, you're not perfect. Susan, you got that really quickly. Yeah.
Do you want to give me a step by step, because I will astray on the retrace part.
I did it. Okay. Do it again. And then come back to me.
So you already got the, you already have the figure eight, right? Well, yes.
Your left, your right?
Right.
Your righty?
Sweet. Yeah. So then, so I'm, start like that.
What was the first one?
Like I can do it and then cross it over.
You try to left, so you go get the left side. And then you're grabbing.
Tracing.
Good. Actually, yes, put it on Brozo
Where's that one going?
This one's going underneath. And then
And then back
I
around.
finish her, I know I have to wrap around it through, but it
Oh, it seems like you're pulling this one. It comes
Dude,
out and what is it doing?
goes
And
down.
then if you want.
But my thing is too short. Finishing my slack.
Nice. Now we do.
So does
One
everyone,
time two like this.
does everyone kind of have that knocked down?
Ugly but effective. I fall.
Sweet, so if you guys have that knot down, Cameron, you want to?
Yeah, so here's the fun part of the class period. So everyone take a minute and untie all of your hard work. I'm really sorry. It'll get better though. So after you're all untied, let me know and we're gonna play a little game to finish class up.
Oh, race. Oh, what? Wait, no professional climbers here.
Is everyone free? Awesome. Okay, now we're gonna have a little competition. Who can tie the fastest figure 8 retrace knot? Is everyone ready?
Yep.
Wait.
Oh, no.
No. You cannot do the double. You have to do the single.
What do you mean double?
You have to start like by itself. You can't do numbers.
Oh, like this?
Okay. On your mark, get set, go.
Oh, man.
I forgot what I was doing.
I got a slow start. Can we restart?
Oh, where's my
Crap, it's too short.
What?
Alright, done.
Oh, what? Seriously?
Okay, you guys keep going because he's the instructor.
Cheater.
Such a cheater.
Well, Brett actually is here.
Alright. Wow.
Teacher's a cheater.
Okay, we got Brett and Zoe.
Put it up when you're done. Put it up. Nice. Keep going. Keep going.
Fast.
Done. Oh, nasty.
Nice. Nice. Who said they're done?
That's all it takes to you.
You're welcome.
Nice.
No, remember when you taught me this? How I really couldn't do it?
Really good. And you did it?
First place. No, remember in the gym and I was like,
I did it twice already.
Yeah,
Not first.
Stupid, like, do it. Kudos for running.
This is my third time doing
Oh,
it.
you climbed it.
cheater.
We're all winners today.
The rock turtle lines.
Friday nights, this to go back this side.
This is my third time.
Yeah, I think
I mean, I really quick on my fall and I died.
Then you go back and come this way.
Hold on, let me see. I can do this. Hold on.
ropes.
You get 2 from us? It doesn't work. All you have to do is, if you just want to cheat at the game, you just grab it,
Hold on.
You're supposed to make it around.
Was it cheat one? It's just a figure 8 on a bike. It's not like that.
Start at the end of the rope.
So where you at?
Alright, guys. Cool. So, whoever got first place, kudos to you. You get some good brownie points.
That was Brett.
Brett, good job.
Good job, Brett.
And for you guys did really good for your first time. Like, I think it's kind of cool, right? I like making knots because it's like something you always hear about but you don't really do. And now you can say you know one of them at least. You're like, oh, and now you have your rope and you just keep finishing out. And also, if you ever want to get into sailing or climbing, you guys can use this. This is one of the knots that the figure 8 reties usually use for climbing. It's always, just like I said, putting it tying into your rope. Sailing, I'm not too sure. I'm not a sailor, but they do use it according to the internet. But you guys did a really good job. I want to commend you on it. Now, Cameron's going to explain a little bit more of what we did to teach you.
So what you just experienced firsthand is the practice style, also called the individual practice style. Because you kind of all the techniques that people are going to teach involve practicing, but this one was more geared towards the first stage and the last stage of class were almost identical to the command stage that we just learned for the gentleman in the first part of the class, but the middle stage is structured so that all of the 9 decisions get transferred over to the students. So in that time, you get to decide, it's in the handout here, you get to decide the order of the task, the starting time, pace and rhythm, stopping time, interval, location, posture, attire and appearance, and whether or not to initiate questions for clarification. So the practice style is geared to let us as the instructors introduce something and then give you as the learners the opportunity to take responsibility for your learning and to practice it on your own, and then give us the opportunity to provide feedback on what you just learned, and also take control of the class at the latter part to give you guys some closure and just go over what you just learned and real world application for it. So you guys now have a cool party trick if nothing else, and hopefully a better understanding of what the individual practice style is.
Yeah.
Thanks guys.
Is there any questions, actually? Any questions? Someone understand something? Want clarification?
Yeah, so I don't get like, is this, what do you do with this?
Well, typically, so we last night cut the rope at his house. The ropes are what, almost 200 feet long. You're using.
Oh, so these are.
Yeah, so one will be the end of the rope. That's why I said inside the instructions, we read it, I said take the end of the rope. That's important. And the rope is, let's say this part. And this part, imagine another 120 feet, basically, of rope either going up or behind you. Yeah, so basically, you had it here, the rope would be like just hanging off there. Does that make sense here?
Yeah, so if you've ever been to the rock gym, you'll see ropes hanging from the ceiling. Those are called top ropes, and so you'll have the middle of the rope hanging at the top of the climb essentially, and then both strands at the bottom. And so the strand that you're tying into is the climber's strand, and that's where you tie the figure 8 retrace knot, so that, you know, that knot is what's keeping you attached to the rope and in the system. So that's what you're falling on essentially. Yeah.
Anything else?
Can we do these?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
What a generous
Thank you guys.
Thanks,
Any questions?
guys.